Now it's live. All right. So 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to the Hunter's Hub, a video game podcast born of the Monster Hunter community, and you have joined us on our Monster Hunter night. This is Fortuan, joined by my awesome co-host Ace. How you doing?
Shh! Don't talk about Greatsword. We don't talk about Greatsword.
Is this the new "Don't Talk About Bruno"? We don't talk
No,
about Great
but
Sword.
everyone, I don't know exactly what the whole conversation is, but
Uh huh.
everyone's been losing their minds about the Greatsword on Twitter, and I've just
Oh,
been like,
I've
just
been busy
move
with the
forever.
girls this weekend, so I didn't understand. Like I didn't hear this. So what's the just because the switch skills, the new switch? We're going to talk about these, by the way.
I
Um,
assume it has something to do with the Switch skills,
mm-hmm.
um, but like, I was just seeing stuff about Greatsword left and right, and I was like, I don't have enough of an attention span to dig into this and find what's going on
Well,
right now.
what's the general idea? Is people are just like going nuts, like it's so awesome kind of deal, or because all I've seen is negativity about the Charge Blade on Twitter.
There's there's been negativity about the charge blade since friggin'
Well, I mean specifically with the weapon video. So to recap for the audience real quick, because we're kind of jumping in the middle of this. Capcom dropped sort of like weapon trailers, which they said they were going to do um, for Sunbreak with some of the Switch skills, not all of them, as I understand, not everything new, but just sort of showcase a little bit of what's new with every weapon. And at this point, we have received 10 of the 14 weapons. We are still missing longsword, light bowgun, dual blades, and lance. Um, and it's, yeah, like I said, it's easier just to name what isn't there versus what is there. So it was kind of weird too. They released them in batches of 3, and then Hunting Horn was just like by itself in the middle of the night. Like I just like I had a weird sleep schedule that night. I had like a headache, and I went to bed like at 8 p.m. and I got up at 3, and I saw it had been posted like an hour ago, so like 2 a.m. my time. I was like, why would they post the Hunting Horn at like 2 a.m.? You know, I guess they can hit European at 7 in the morning. Like, uh,
yeah.
it's like midday Japan. Like, I don't know.
No,
I don't know what the release was of that for the Hunting Horn. But anyways, so
so
you saw people freaking out like it's so awesome for the Greatsword. Like I guess we'll
it
just start with
look
that one.
it looks like people are on the in the camp of like it's overpowered because there's the what it's called is the surge slash combo, an offensive style that combines speed with the weight of the greatsword to unleash a stream of powerful strikes in quick succession.
Yeah,
And then
and
there's
it's
the
paired with the
strong arm
char.
stings.
This yeah, it's paired with the supercharge that people use.
hmm So it looks like it's got faster attacks and some counters to it.
Yeah,
So I guess people are freaking out because it's like OP, so to say.
not. I wouldn't think so. I was happy when I saw that trailer because the counter is on the switch skill that I like to use, the bounce. That everyone likes to use the supercharge slash instead of the bounce, and I use the bounce. So
hmm
the fact that it was paired with the bounce, I was like, yes, yes, give me the bounce because you can counter attack, right? And then after you land the counter attack, you can switch skill into the bounce. And I was like, that is amazing because it gets you up close and personal. Essentially, it puts you in a position to do the bounce. Um, so I was excited about that one. Although that takes,
hmm
you know, if they both take 2 wire bugs, I don't know if the wire bugs replenish when you switch or not, but because they don't really show the UI. Um, but yeah, like the first 3 that dropped were Switch Axe, Greatsword, and what was the other one? Was it the no? It wasn't the hammer. Oh goodness, I gotta go look. Sword and Shield. That's right. No, heavy bowgun, switch axe, and sword and shield. Sorry, I'm wrong. Greatsword was not on that. Um, the I don't know. So I guess let's just kind of go through them in order. So
Mm,
sword and shield, first one I saw. We, I kind of like freaked out because they were like oils are back, and I was like,
yeah,
this is cool.
Pan will be happy about that.
Oh yeah, no, I know she's happy about it. I pinged her on the Discord, and she was just like, yes. I put in that GIF of the Jack Nicholson from Anger Management, where it zooms on him going, yeah, at the bar. Like,
I could just see Pan on the other end being the one dude from Avatar in the Kyoshi village that's just like and just frothing at the
yeah, he
mouth.
just like passes out frothing at the mouth. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh man, yeah. That the oils being back is kind of exciting because we only saw the destroyer oil, but which helps them flinch more. But the oils
Hmm.
were a very well liked and utilized thing in Generations and Generations Ultimate. I mistakenly thought they were in 4 Ultimate, but I get 4 Ultimate and Generations Ultimate mechanics mixed up sometimes. So
Hmm.
so yeah, it was pretty cool stuff. I was very excited about that one.
Yeah. I mean, I've been definitely using a wide variety of weapons, so far probably Sword and Shield I'm most excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not very good with the switch axe and Rise. I would say at least with the switch skills, I'm kind of
Right.
I just kind of don't get them, or I just don't have them down right now. Just because I've been spent a significant amount of time with them. Um, Hammer.
You want to talk about the hammer next? It's not really in order, but that's okay.
I'm just look. I'm just scrolling through the Twitter updates right now, looking
Ah,
at them.
I'm going through the YouTube to see what order they came out in. Um, so the next one after that, I believe, was the Switch Axe. And the Switch
Hmm.
Axe, I'm not as. It's probably in my bottom tier of weapons for me personally. Not saying that it's bad weapon. It's just not for me. It's never been for me. I always try it out with every game, um, it's just not something that clicks with me. But it did get a counter attack, um,
Hmm.
which I kind of felt like it's kind of funny because a lot of things got a counter attack through these videos, and I feel like it's like the Smash Brothers problem where new character with counter attack.
I will say. I will say though, just based off the video that they used with the Astalos switch axe and the Astalos armor, I might become a switch axe main. We'll see.
I mean, Ocelus is pretty fun. It's a good fight. I wonder how they're going to change it too, because you know it's been since generations that we fought him. So
Hmm.
um, the 4 to 5 update is always an interesting change.
Yeah, we'll see just how twitchy he gets.
Yeah, do his lightning rod into the ground and blow up. Um, so switch axe and then heavy bowgun. I'm not a like I said, I played heavy good bowgun back in Gen 1. I'm not a bowgunner these days. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I watched it. It looked pretty cool. They got this wire bug circle thing where you can shoot through it and it doubles the shot, I think is what it said. So basically, or triples it or something. It basically, like, you're shooting through it and it does more shots. Essentially, like, splits the ammo. Um,
Hmm.
that was kind of cool. Um, but that's about all I saw in that for me that was like of any significance. I know there's another move in there. I don't remember it. I really don't.
It's the crouching shot. So you basically go down to like one knee by the looks of it, and then it enables you to fire the bowgun in rapid succession.
Okay, I mean that's a
So
mechanic from
essentially like a
Generations.
yeah, like a semi-auto.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I mean that's probably
so they're
big
bringing
for
in
heavy bowgunners.
yeah.
I can't. I couldn't make out what they were using though. Like what weapon and armor.
It looks to be the Bishaton
Oh,
subspecies.
the Splody Bishitan, Mister
Yeah, that's what it looks
Pinecone.
like to me. Unless if that's like a surprise um, new take on Viper Toby Kadachi, but I don't think so.
No, you can. I now that you say that, I can see it in the male's armor where it kind of looks like
Hmm.
a baboon, like the face mask. Um,
Yeah, and it's also got like the wings
yeah,
coming off of the arms too.
it's nice to see some G rank armor because they all look great. Like G rank usually
Hmm.
look everything looks great. You know, I can give or take a lot of the high rank armors, but
Ooh, speaking of which, I'm hoping they redeem the Rathalos armor
mm-hmm.
this time around because I I like the G rank Rathalos armor from the past when it had like the full wings,
Yeah,
and then
that
in
was that was third
in
gen.
Iceborne, yeah, I think in four didn't it also have full
Yeah, they
wings
had
for
the
it too?
same. They had the same design, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Iceborne they had it sort of just like it was just almost like fins or frills, and I was like, oh, I want to look like I eat dragons for breakfast.
Yeah.
But then the Fatalis armor came along and fixed that, sort of.
Yeah, sort of ish. But I mean, the cat outfit for the Fatalis armor made everything good. Just the floppy headed
Yeah,
Fatalis with the little hunter
yeah,
for the weapon.
that goes from trying to do the stab mount
Mm-hmm.
to just being used like a fucking club. Ugh.
Yes, yes, they had some great designs for that one. Um, so moving on from heavy bowgun, another one that really got my attention was the insect glaive, and the super bug attack where they put the bug on the end of the stick and whirl him around and just chuck him at the monster, and he does like a bunch of damage. I was like, that's cool. That's gonna make for some fun, like Kinsect builds where they're focusing on tossing the Kinsect a lot. Um,
Hmm.
that one was cool. I really enjoyed that one. And the other ability, again, I don't remember it because the Kinsect one took up my attention because I was like, did he just chuck that bug at that Rethalis and knock it out of the air? Well, I don't know if it was Rethalis he was fighting, but something.
Yeah, that reminds me
Yeah,
of
it was Rethalis.
the skill that you can or the special attack that you can do in Generations Ultimate,
Right?
where it like whirls around you and then you just whip it at the monster and then it fills all your um, essences.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like, honestly. It looks like we're getting a lot of generations inspirations for these moves in general.
Hmm.
Like between the oils,
Yeah.
between like uh the crouching on the heavy bow gun. That could be the thing here. Um
Yeah, I'm seeing in some of the comments as well that some of them are frontier mechanics too. So I have
Interesting.
to
I wouldn't know that
do
as
some.
well.
Yeah, I'd have to do some research to see exactly which ones. I think it said one was for there was one under Greatsword, but I'd have to double check.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure because I've never followed Frontier that well because again I have a problem faking a different country's equivalent of a social security number just to play a game. Um, as much as I love Monster Hunter, that was a step too far for me. I was just like, I can't do this. Um, so Insect Glaive looking pretty good. I was pretty happy about that one. The hammer, it seemed to get some cool stuff. It got this weird sort of like dash thing. I don't know what to call it. Do you like it? Didn't like I
Impact,
yeah,
impact burst.
something like that. Oh no, that's where no, I'm getting that confused with Hunting Horn. This is where
Impact crater.
they hit the monster and it hits again later on. So it just does
Hmm.
it just does a lingering hit, like hit, and then there's like an echo of a hit in the same spot, regardless of where that spot moves to. The same spot on the
Right.
monster, which is okay. That felt very, I don't know.
Similar to the one attack on the long sword, where you do the two slashes, and then
Hmm.
it has the after effect.
Right. That's kind of gives it's as much as they obviously it's not grounded in realism, but there's there if some of the attacks always kind of feel grounded, like you're hitting where it hits. You're not doing these like
Hmm.
weird like things. But this is one of those ones that kind of crosses into that line where it's just like a little more fantasy about the sort of attack. It feels more anime-y, if
Hmm.
you may. Um, and it's kind of like I kind of think of like there was this line on one of the football games I used to hear. It's like they tackle him. It's like, oh, he'll feel that one in the morning. It's like I kind of feel like
Yeah,
that. It's just like, oh, you'll feel that after you hit it, kind of thing. So like
yeah.
a lingering attack kind of deal.
Hunting horn looks interesting.
Yeah, that's the one that you get a dash, and you sort of dash over to them, and um, I can't remember how it went. Maybe highlighting it real quick will show it. But they comboed it into the spinning one where they spin the hammer on its handle, um,
Hmm.
which was a pretty popular move. A lot of people liked that. So it kind of looks just like a sort of like a dash hit, and it looked pretty good. Not gonna lie, we didn't see anything about songs or doing anything more with songs, but I don't
Hmm.
think that's going to be an issue. Again, I don't think we got the whole picture of everything that's different. So,
Yeah.
um, they're just showing a cool combo move that you can use with a pretty popular move. Um,
Hmm.
back to the great sword real quick. I do enjoy the counter that we got because there's not a lot of counters in the great sword. Um,
Hmm.
and with me who likes to do the push guard, um, instead of the shoulder check,
Hmm.
I really appreciate the sort of blocking aspect of the greatsword that kind of gets forgotten. Like
Hmm.
the fact that it can block is one of the reasons why I enjoy the greatsword nowadays. Um, just because you can be like, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to make it with a roll, so I'm going to stand up and block if I don't really feel like trying to time the dodge that well. I don't know. Maybe it's lazy playing on my part, but I do enjoy that. That's something in Monster Hunter that's been around for a long time is the fact that the greatsword can block, and it was just never really used that much. But like they showed it
Hmm.
in, if you remember, Ace, not Freedom Unites intro, but Freedom 2's intro, where the Blanganga is charging after the gunner
Yeah.
that's downed, and the greatsword guy saves him by blocking with the greatsword. It's something I don't know. It feels a little more iconic than they give it credit for in the
Yeah.
series.
I was actually just like thinking about something like that. I wish that with like the Fang Beast ones that have like the Primitus skeletons, so like Blanganga and Rajang and those ones. I wish that it would that I think it would be cool if they implemented like a small little like quick time event
Mm-hmm.
struggle where if you're successful you can briefly knock them down out of it, or
Hmm.
if if you fail out of it, you get like the big knockback, and you're thrown onto the ground.
Okay.
I think that'd be cool if they added a little touch like that. But you know, I'm not the game developer, so
Right, and also quick time events are generally a no no nowadays. They were like a
yeah.
hip thing, and now they're kind of like, please don't. You know what I mean? Like, not saying it's a bad idea.
um,
I'm just saying general public doesn't seem to like them usually.
Gunlance, I don't know why we don't just make it a jetpack at this point.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that was insane. Um, it was like another just like sort of boosting around. Um, I don't even know what it did. I watched that one a couple times and I was still like, what are they doing? Like they're and they also got some sort of alternate stake charge as well.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's kind of nifty. I it looked, if I cared to play Gunlance, it looked pretty nice. But not gonna lie, I am 100% still sticking with Greatsword for Sunbreak because I just enjoyed it so much in Rise. And I've always kind of been like, I even said this today. I was like, I always try out the weapons, but like, I feel
Hmm.
like more and more I'm just becoming more of just a Greatsword main. I'm just like, this is kind of where I'm just sort of sitting on Monster Hunter weapons right now. Just like Greatsword. I
Hmm.
can't help it. I can't help what I like. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, the Gunlance it looks fun. That one kind of reminded me of, you remember there in World and Iceborne. Was it World and Iceborne? No, maybe I'm wrong. Isn't no maybe it is in Rise where you do the cooldown strike, where you can reduce the cooldown on your wyvern shot by doing a move.
I don't know. I'm not. I'm not too savvy on the Gunlance.
Yeah, see, this is my problem. I always tell people when they ask about Monster Hunter stuff, like this is we're clearly in the hunter part of Monster Hunter, and I very much more lean towards the monster part of Monster Hunter. So when we're talking about the hunter stuff, I'm not as well versed, even though I've been playing since the beginning of the series. I've still focused on the
Yeah.
monsters more. So I find a weapon and I just try to master that one weapon, and there we go. So Gunlance looking pretty good. Charge Blade, I was seeing getting some negative feedback for having the Iron Silk Bind like counter, even though it already had a count, and it pairs with the other counter too. Was the other thing. It's
Hmm.
like counter and then counter again, I guess. Like, but it was like they said specifically with the Strong Silk, which is like a new thing. But basically,
Hmm.
I think you just take no or very little chip damage from the strong silk and sort of do something extra with it.
Um, I mean, one of the moves it looks like it plants one of the files into the monster, and then when you hit it again, um, it can cause it looks like knockout damage.
Okay, that's good. I mean, we need more weapons that do knockout damage.
Knockout slash knockdown, depending on where you hit it.
Yeah.
Bow.
That's weird. It's a rumor, obviously. I was just looking at the weapon stuff, but something popped up of Sony has apparently secured Capcom and CD Projekt Red.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard it either. It's literally a rumor, or it could just be someone just spouting nonsense on the internet. But it actually like came up on my
you
like notifications.
you really think someone would do that? Go on the internet and tell lies?
Yes, all the time.
To
Um,
quote Arthur.
yeah,
Bow looks like it has a interesting move where it links you to the monster. Butcher's bind.
yes, that was cool. Because it does more cutting damage, so the bows can get
Yeah.
the tail off easier. that was a good highlight for me. I dabbled in bow and a little bit in rise, just like when I was sort of like playing with people who were
Hmm.
still newer. I didn't want to just go in there with full greatsword build and just demolish things until I did, because I
Yeah.
wanted to play more greatsword. But at first I was using some bow, and that actually looked really cool. When they sort of attach. It's like the idea in D&D of like you're shooting something with a rope tied to the bow, and you're
Yeah.
sort of like circumventing around it with the rope.
Yeah. I mean, World and Rise, I mean, have made bow and the bow guns, I would say,
A lot
more
better.
accessible
Yes.
because opening up opening up armor to just being universal instead of having a separate set for gunner that's half the defense
Yeah.
is, I would say, a lot better.
Well,
I feel more comfortable.
the idea was that they didn't have the physical defense. They had the elemental defense because they had higher elemental
Mhm.
defenses. Now the problem was is that all the elemental attacks still did also physical damage. So it was just better to be a blade master in both situations anyways. So it kind of defeated its own purpose, but like yeah, it was lower defense armor essentially. Um,
Yeah.
but I do remember being like, oh man, my gunner wouldn't have taken as much. Like we're talking like Freedom Unite. Man, my bow wouldn't have taken as much damage from that Rajong beam as my blade master did. But
Hmm.
that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. And I'm not
Yeah.
even sure if that was true. That was just me looking at the stats and feeling that. Uh,
Also got to say yet again with the trailer, poor Rathalos just getting abused over and over and over again.
yeah, yeah. Poor gal. Um, I really want to see a day where the new monster comes in and Rethalos kicks the crap out of it. Like I know that wouldn't do well to sell the new monster, but like really the poor Rathian Rathalos pair just need a break. They need to they need
They'd
to
have to
stop.
they'd have to do like some Monster Hunt, Monster Hunter Online shit and do like the Zenith Rathalos or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, or just straight up bring Dread King in.
Hmm.
Um, it's just I get tired of seeing it because not only because they're some of my favorite monsters, but it's just like, oh, here it goes again. Here's a Rethalos. Oh, it's because they did it with Melzeno too. Like Melzeno's
Hmm.
eating a Rethalos essentially, and
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
oh, I
He's
thought you were
just
talking about the Seregius
got him.
trailer that was chasing Rathian. Um,
No, the one where he's got him in his mouth like a dog
yeah,
with a goose, like a hunting dog with a goose in its mouth. Um,
yeah, Goose are
but yeah,
terrifying.
we got we got Steve back.
Steve. Um,
I'm excited to have that armor back. I love the way it looks.
yeah. Um, I wonder if we're still gonna get roll for sharpening. Uh, that could be a
It'd be
thing
interesting.
because that was on the weapon property, I believe, right? That wasn't an armor property. That was a weapon property, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Pretty sure it was. I am. It's been a while. Um, I haven't played a lot of Monster. Like the last thing I did was the crown hunting stuff, and I finished that in what, March, April? No, April's too late. March,
I mean,
February.
I've been doing more Gen U this week, and I've been working on clearing out more quests,
Mm-hmm.
which it's kind of tedious depending on which ones they are.
Yeah,
One of them was G rank wound the Royal Ludroth's main, and I don't know, it was like half an hour in, and I'm just like dying. I'm like, just Get broken already.
Oh,
I don't want to fight you as
the
a
cat
cat.
quest, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ruined ones are pretty rough. I remember there was one for breaking an Iodrome's crest that I felt pretty bad about. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is taking a long time. And Iodrome, you want to think he's a pushover, but he isn't. Like you're like, oh, he's just a raptor.
Dude, no, I had a one of the cat quests that I cleared was hunting in Iodrome in
Mm-hmm.
the swamp, and the one that I got, which is the one that I posted on Twitter, was larger than the Gypsaros that was also in the hunt. I was like, dang, this size scaling makes Idrome look huge, and then a freaking Gypsaros comes into the area and lands, and I'm just like, what?
What is this Iodrome? This is a monster. I get that. It feels a lot more drastic in the older games sometimes with the size differences. Um, but even a normal Iodrome will do a lot of damage to you, not just from the
Mm-hmm.
poisoning. Just regular melee damage is very much on par with a monster that's about twice its size sometimes. So you got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful with an Iodrome. But Gypsor is also an early tier monster too that can be kind of small. So I get why. But yeah, I don't know. Gypsor is never tiny, like unless it's a small crown. So like you just so you but you did you get a crown off of that Iodrome? I'd hope you did.
It was the large crown,
Yeah, it makes sense.
because if I let me see, let me go to it.
Got it on your
It
phone.
was 1121
Yeah, it's pretty big.
when the silver crown was 1103.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's a pretty big silver crown too for an Iodrome because they go off of length,
Yeah.
which you know our human brains look at height a lot more than length, but
I mean, height and length, it was bigger than Gypsaros.
true, it's true.
And then in a quest with randoms, I got a slightly smaller silver Rathalos as well. So
Nice.
that was goofy, but I posted on that.
Now was a slightly smaller gold crown, small.
Yeah. So I went from 1642 to 1625.
It's a pretty in the gold crown range. That's pretty drastic.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly 20 centimeters. Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, and then I know you saw the other post that I retweeted about the PS5 Horizon Forbidden West bundle
Yep.
that is
Yep.
supposedly Sony official. I'll
Yep.
believe it when I possibly ever see it.
Uh, as people who already have PS5s, that's yeah. That's not an issue for us, but it is still an issue for the general public. My some of my friends just don't believe it exists. They're like, "No. You
Mm.
you 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 fabricated that PS5." I'm like, "Sure. Yeah. I fabricated something I spent $500 on for me to watch Netflix on at this point."
No, you got that off Alibaba, and it's really just a Google Chromecast inside a fancy case.
Mhm. Mhm. Um I mentioned this through the chat, but I have been so I'm still in the Monster Hunter gaming rut where I just don't feel like playing anything, but I don't want to play Monster Hunter because I don't want to burn out on it before Sunbreak. So I'm just in this sort of limbo of not wanting to play any games.
But I need help in 3.
I would have the night that you were like, "Hey, I'm going to do this." Like I think I even said like I would, but I ended up being busy that night. Um
Mm.
that one night if I remember. But I yeah, I do remember that. But I've mostly just been watching movies and then also doing a little more work too. trying to get some
Mm.
hours because trying to save up for the house.
Hmm.
Um, so been working on that, but what I was gonna say is I watched Doctor Sleep, and that was a total
Hmm.
turnaround from me not liking The Shining. Whereas, and then watching Ewan McGregor in Doctor Sleep, I was like, I think I gotta watch Star Wars again because like I just like I just like Ewan
Hmm.
McGregor, so like I gotta see him in Star Wars again. Apparently, that was a very early role for him. I figured out he'd only done a couple movies
Well,
before that.
I mean, you and I both being horror version fans and listening to them for a while now. I mean, The Shining, the movie, was different in a lot of ways from the book,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I would say I would say much in the way that a lot of people misunderstand characters in movies
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. Um, Stanley Kubrick, I would say, like definitely sort of like puts Jack up on a pedestal and idolizes him in just like giving in and being a monster to the evil presence, and it doesn't like he doesn't ever come back like he does in the book, because in the book he like snaps out of it and has a moment of clarity and sacrifices himself to save his family,
Yeah.
but that doesn't ever happen in the movie.
No, because they were going
So,
pseudo slasher at the end, essentially.
hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know the whole psychic stuff and that kind of stuff in Doctor Sleep, and about how the house was itself was a predator. It felt like, and the mansion or whatever, the hotel. Um,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff was really cool, and you really don't get that idea. It just feels like this weird horror for horror's sake in The Shining. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. You don't get a lot of context of what's going on. Whereas Doctor Sleep, it
Hmm.
felt like there was context, and they didn't like shove it down your throat. There wasn't. It wasn't just depositing exposition. It was like following him. Although I did say there was that one part where he woke up next to that woman and the little kid was there, and he just sort of sat there like, and the woman had thrown up or something, and he was just like, yeah, I'm getting out of here.
Hmm.
And he sets the kid down, and then like later in a nightmare he sees both of them dead, and I was just like, wait a minute, did that kid die there? Did that kid starve to death because he just left that woman there, and was she dead? Like I was just like, dude, Danny, what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
messed up.
he's he's not a good person at the start of the movie.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Um, so and you never expect that out of like you see like a child from another movie. You don't expect them to be not great. You're like, no, no, no. He's our protagonist. He's not going to do something like that. Oh, he did something like that. Oh no.
Well, he fell down the same well as his father.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and unfortunately, he didn't have a family that was trying to save him until he already did some horrible shit, and then
yeah,
he got his friend in the town that he escaped to.
yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting one. I know, sorry, that's not Monster Hunter related for Monster Hunter Week, but like we just had the weapon videos, and that's kind of with the trailer. We had the trailer too, but we kind of talked about that last week with Sasha. Um, like Steve being back, that's awesome. Getting some, idea of what the silk binds.
Aurora Somnicanth looks kind of interesting.
Yes, I do. I do. Even though there was the bit of like, okay, so if we got Aurora Somnicanth, where's Zamtrios? But like, I get it. Where those do look interesting, the Magma, Almadron, and Aurora
Hmm.
Somnicanth. I wish they would have said more than just Magma Almadron though, because like Aurora,
Hmm.
that sounds cool. That sounds thought out. Just like, might as well just called him Lava, It's like magma is just the same thing. Just magma
Yeah,
Almudron. It's like it feels very on the nose in comparison to Aurora.
I would have probably gone with something like Molten Core Almudron, maybe.
They did show one of the weapon videos does have the molten
Ooh, excuse me.
Almudron. I think it's the Gunlance. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where it looks very, it does have that Almudron sort of like cybernetic, like uh, maybe not cybernetic, Gundam sort of Gundam aesthetic to it, but it was
Mm-hmm.
like red hot Gundam, and I was like, I'm into this aesthetic here for the Magma Almudron armor. I won't
Mm-hmm.
probably use it, but I'm into it. And another thing that we got was we saw the Melzeno armor for the Greatsword, and the Greatsword was the Melzeno Greatsword too.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother actually said he was kind of disappointed they showed that off because he was like, I kind of would have wanted that to be a thing, but I was like, I mean, they showed the layered armor as a pre-order bonus, so I kind of think
Mm-hmm.
we were already spoiled of Malzeno armor to a degree. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's the exact same
I mean,
design, but
they didn't show the Narwa or Ibushi armor, so they haven't shown us what the
oh yeah,
hidden monster, the hidden
the real
ultimate
boss
monster is going to be.
monster. Yeah, we're not seeing that. We know that. I mean, it's always the fake out, right? It's Malzeno. Malzeno's the problem. Oops, Malzeno wasn't the problem. We killed it, but it wasn't the problem. And then
Yeah, and I also think the what is it, the blood blight is going to
yeah,
be an interesting new mechanic because
that's
they said if it enters into a second stage, you enter into a battle of life force with Melzeno.
I very much see it the exact same thing with the frenzy with Gormagala, because the way
Mhm.
to get Gormagala's feelers to pop out was to purposely do bad at rebuffing his debuff. Like that was, I don't know if you ever knew that, but if you purposely let the blight take effect, it was actually easier for the feelers to pop out and him to go into sort of like the super rage mode. So I
Mhm.
feel like this is just another take at Gore Magala's mechanics, just in a different way, and sort of flavoring it as this vampire.
Potentially, I think it's also funny that he's got like a ruffled shirt made out of the little parasitic bat leeches that he has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ruffled collar. Yeah, the very Victorian vampire look. Yeah,
Hmm.
I do enjoy that. Which is kind of funny because it's like very much not a natural creature thing. You know what I mean? Like that's very much inspired from a human thing. It's very
Hmm.
anthropomorphic of Monster Hunter to do, but at the same time, it's just like it's whatever. I mean, we've had a jet dragon at this point that's canon, so and it's in this game, so
Hmm.
it's literally a jet. Like I don't, I what am I caring about realism for at this point? So,
Now, big question, since apparently we're only getting one more trailer slash event before release.
mm-hmm,
You think Laggy is coming back?
I do not. I think
Because
Laggy.
everyone's still
I
still
think
thirsting for Laggy.
no pun intended. I think Laggy is dead in the water. Like I don't. I really don't think. Um, because he was so centered around the water mechanics. You know what I mean? Him and
Hmm.
Goebel were very, very heavy into the water, and that's another reason why we won't see Goebel. I actually watched like a, I don't know who it was, but some Monster Hunter YouTuber um, that talked about like, hey, what are some forgotten monsters in the Monster Hunter series that we haven't seen in a long time? And he specifically said that Laggy, a lot of people call Laggy a forgotten monster, but he didn't count it because it was in Generations and Generations Ultimate, which was not
Hmm.
that long ago. So he said the forgotten Leviathan would have been Goebel, because Goebel, its last appearance
Definitely.
was 3 Ultimate, and to be honest, I'd like to see Goble as well, but like I feel that it's not their time yet. I think in the future
Mhm.
we will see water mechanics come back, um,
I hope so.
and I think they will do them better. And I think we will see Laggy and Goble and those kind of monsters return as well, um, even Plesioth to that degree. Because I don't see us getting Plesioth in Sunbreak is as much as I would personally like to see Plesioth again. I don't think that's happening.
Hmm.
Um,
Not unless we get what is it? The what's the the map right by Moga Village?
Deserted Island.
Yeah, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless we get that, or um, they decide to be really giving with the flooded forest.
Right. Well, see the thing is about the flooded forest. It's closer to the portable third version that didn't have water. Right. Like the portable third
Hmm.
didn't have water, so we're seeing these third generation esque maps. Right. So like you can see flooded forest is the same, but it's not the exact same. There's some of the same interconnectedness, but it's not the exact same way that it was. And they've modernized it,
Well, it's
obviously.
it's essentially the same map, but it's got additions to it, both like in terms of like overall size and then verticality,
Yeah.
because it all connects it in a way that makes sense. But some of the layouts are different than what it
Well, they
was.
have to be because in the old ones you had these long winding paths that were essentially between the arenas that you were fast traveling through between the zones. So it has to be. That's why I really don't consider them the same. They're inspired by third generation, obviously. I mean, you
Hmm.
can see the same sort of archway and sort of structures in the desert, but they're smaller. You know what I mean? Like they're much smaller.
Hmm.
They're much more. Um, it ends up changing them enough that I don't really feel personally that they are the same. I feel that they are
Hmm.
inspirations from. So if we get a deserted island, I could see water, but they would have to treat it like Generations Ultimate, where you you're on the shore. It's a bunch of shallow water, and then you can fish something out from the place that you used to be able to swim. And I'm not really sure that we're going to see a lot of water monsters like that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, there's also potentially the misty peaks that we could see.
sure, yeah,
Um, it'd be cool if we got the tundra, because I kind of miss the caves and with that map and stuff. And as you know, I want Giginox back, but
yeah. I
we'll
think
have to.
I think Giganox is another one that is gonna wait.
Stop it! Don't say it. No.
They got Kazoo, and they literally fill the same role. Like I feel that's why I feel like that's why it felt kind of like, oh no, when we got Aurora, Somnicanth, and Magma Almadron, because the ones that people were really pulling for, we have the lower versions of both Ignactor and Zamtrios. We're kind of like, uh, I guess that's it for them at first. We don't really know. They could still have them, and
Hmm.
they're just turf wars and that kind of stuff. I really hope that I am right and that we still do have the 30 monsters or so that Iceborne gave us with the massive expansion. Because, like, again, we've only seen 9 so far. And then, like,
Hmm.
if we come out and we see a couple more monsters, let's say bring it up to 12, 3 new monsters, right? Um, if it's literally just those 3 new monsters, like the 12 monsters we've seen for Sunbreak, and that's it, I'm gonna be very disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's the economy of Monster Hunter, both playtime and in game is heavily dependent on the monsters and the variety of monsters. And while Rise
Mm-hmm.
has a wonderful variety, we have hit most every type of monster. I think we didn't hit Neopatrons as far as target monsters. We got Vespoids, but we didn't get target Neopatrons. We did hit a
Yeah.
Temnoceran, but we also didn't. And also, it still baffles me. It still baffles me that we didn't get Aptonoth, like the iconic herbivore. And like it took
Well,
me
like I said, that'd be perfect to get Deserted Island.
sure. And Aptonoth were in the deserted island, which is possible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I find it insane that they weren't in Rise. Like I find it absolutely insane. Like to me, like as far as like someone who's been playing since the first game, they were as iconic to the series as Rethalis. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know what you do with a Monster Hunter game that doesn't have Rethalos. Like I don't. Is it Monster Hunter? Did they have a crossover with Dauntless? Through this one, like I like
Oh boy.
where did we lose our identity? No, not that we have to have every monster come back every time, but I feel that there are key ones to the franchise, and I felt that Aptonoth would have been one of them. Now we got Kelby,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess that's what they
Yeah, we
thought
got
was okay.
we
Like,
got Apsaros.
yeah, Apsaros were there, which you didn't have a backpacking Apsaros in the Freedom Unite intro. You had a backpacking Optonoth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no lie. There's a reason why I built a really awesome Optonoth build for Stories 2, because it's
Mm-hmm.
iconic, it's a funny monster, and I love it. But it's just weird. It's just weird we didn't get it. It'd be kind of weird if we got them in Sunbreak now too. It'd be like, hey, look what's back, Aptonoth, and they're like, yes, awesome, but why were they gone to begin with? Like that would be my
Mm-hmm.
question. Like I thought these were ubiquitous in the Monster Hunter universe, but maybe not. Um, or maybe they just
We'll
didn't
get
feel
them
like.
back after we defeat Malzeno. They were pushed to the ecological brink by Malzeno's hunting.
Man, I tell you what, as much as I love ecology and that kind of stuff, like I have to put my ecology brain to the side when they talk about ecology and Monster Hunter because it's so bad sometimes. Because it's like they do some awesome things every once in a while, but then they do some things I'm like, no, no, no. Because like, could you imagine a world with that many hyper predators? No, nothing. Like there would you'd have to be like swimming in a sea of Aptonoth for the food chain to support that many hyper predators. Like that's just insane.
I mean, they got hyper herbivores too.
Right, but those don't get
They got
eaten as much.
Duramboros, Golem. I'm pretty sure is one. Um,
Oh, that
isn't
reminds me.
Blank Diablos?
No, there's some awesome ones, but they don't get eaten near as often. They aren't prey. That's the thing is, like, they're adapted to not be
Yeah,
prey.
so it balances out
No, well, I'm talking about,
because
like they need
some
food.
some of some of the large monsters get too brazen. They're like, oh hey, I'm gonna take on this other larger monster because it's in my territory, and then Diablos goes and kicks their ass,
Yeah,
or Duramboros pancakes their head in with its tail.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying with that, but those exist too, where they're like the herbivore that has sort of outclassed the predators around. But the problem is, it's like, and I'm not saying we don't know the amount of, let's say, Nargacuga, but let's think just in world, right? How many hyper predators were in the ancient forest?
Decent amount.
Probably at least 7 different varieties. And when in
Hmm.
like you go to some place like in the real world, like let's say Africa savannah, and you have like lions, and cheetahs and hyenas that are like really up there as far as like near the top of the food chain, but
Hmm.
like hyenas are mostly scavengers. They'll kill stuff, obviously. Cheetahs are highly specialized, but lions are sort of like the sort of like general apex that I would believe. And
Well, the thing is too, like with the maps, we're only getting like,
a
even though
glimpse.
the Great Forest map is like a really big map, it's still not a giant area. And like even in trailers and stuff, and in older versions of the game, you get to see like herds of Aptonoth and stuff like that.
Sure,
So
yeah.
they're not just like these localized little groups of like 4 or 3 per each zone.
No, I
They're
agree.
large, massive herds. So
I agree, but there are large, giant herds of Cape buffalo and zebra and stuff, and they're supporting a lot less top predators in the real world.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like a lot less variety. Um,
mm,
so that's what I'm saying is like I gotta when you talk about Monster Hunter, I like sometimes they do cool ecological things, but they're cool ecologically in theory. Like when you actually try to put them to
mm.
practice, it's like this thing falls apart so fast. Like like but it's fantasy. It's that's the way I have to take it because if
Well, I mean,
if I break it down,
hippos are more dangerous than lions. I'm pretty sure,
that's true. Yes, they are.
and they are, from my understanding, herbivores.
I believe
So
they're actually omnivores, or they're herbivores that will partake. Actually, I figured out something. Most herbivores will eat meat if it's available. That's so.
yeah,
Something I learned about deer. White-tailed deer are known for knocking birds out of their nests and eating the baby birds. And I was like, that
interesting.
is nuts. If it's like a weak season, or they just find them, they're like, oh, bird, chomp, like they're just on the ground because they can't fly yet. Like that's just insane to me.
Interesting.
I learned that and I freaked out and I was like, I'm no longer vegetarian's not a thing anymore for me. I did vegetarian and veganism for a while, and then I was like, this just doesn't like I didn't like it. I didn't like doing it. Yada yada. I was like, this doesn't feel
Mm.
natural for me. Like I just don't. Not that I have to eat meat all the time. I don't. But like, it just didn't. I don't know. And then I learned that I was like, even deer aren't vegans, and I'm like, that's good. That's great. I feel better about the not following this. And yes, chat says hippos scare me. There's a good reason why hippos should scare people. They are large, they are fast, and they can kill a lot of things.
Oh yeah, like I would say probably Garen Golem is probably the Monster Hunter equivalent to a
Yeah,
hippo,
being
because like you wouldn't expect it to be as fast or as violent as it is,
right.
and then you let your guard down and you're dead.
Now, what did they
Because like
classify him as? Was he a fanged beast?
he is Fang Beast,
Yeah,
which
so he's fanged
that's
beast
that's
is
essentially what a hippo is too.
yeah,
Because
fanged
their
yeah.
their their teeth are extremely sharp from like the documentaries
No,
that
yeah,
I've watched.
yeah. The fanged beasts being stuff like Rajang is the category that we're looking at,
Mm.
and whereas what is fanged beast? So what's the other one? Are they the same? They can't be the same.
Bishidan,
No, Bishaton, I understand is a fanged beast. No, I'm talking like Oda
Fanged Wyvern.
Fanged Wyvern. There you go. I was like, I know they're both fanged. I was like, Fanged Wyvern, which
Mm-hmm.
is an ogre, um, lightning squirrel. I can't remember. Toby Kadachi. There you
Toby
go.
Kadachi.
Yeah. Um, so, um, just yeah, just like it's kind of cool to imagine that like Garen Golem, even though he looks like a hippo, is just a beefy rocky monkey, like in the
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter universe. And then Kangala actually was quite like a hippo. There was a lot of features of a hippo on
Yeah.
Kangala. Um, I wonder, that was the thing is like every time we get Rajang, I'm like, where is Kangala and where is Blangonga? Like we need those two
It's all the
back.
it's all the haters of his farting ass that got him taken out of contention for
I've
main
been
series games.
I've been dealing with this since I was 8. I was playing Chaos on Primal Rage. Chaos is literally a Kangala. See, I've talked about Primal Rage a couple times, but he literally is a pink giant monkey that farts, pukes, and burps. Like
Mm.
that's it. Like, and he's the same coloration of Kangala. I almost wonder if there was some inspiration there for Kangala, or
Potentially.
or it's just one of those weird simultaneous idea kind of thing, because
Hmm.
yeah, that happens too. Pure coincidence. um yeah, I'd like to see a Primal Rage remake come back, but that company is long dead. Acclaim.
Well, limited run games always seems to have these obscure games that I have no idea what they are. So keep your eyes peeled.
There
They
is a
might have it
PC
one day.
version. There is a PC version out there, but it's just a remake. It's just like a literally a port of the old school game,
Hmm.
which is fine. But I would like to see a modern take of that game. I'd like there's so many modern takes I'd like to see of different games. Like like would you scoff at having a Monster Hunter Tri remake on the Switch? Like I'd hope they go 3 Ultimate instead of Tri, but I mean you'd still get it, right?
Theoretically, I mean, they definitely make it more accessible.
Right. So if they did something like that, so like I'd do it, but I don't know. I'd like to see a modern Primal Rage. I'd like to see a modern Bushido Blade. I'd like to see so many like a modern EVO. I've talked about that several times. Um, just just old games that we don't see a lot of. Um, as conversely, we get a bunch of sequels now. Monster Hunter's in this category. We get a bunch of sequels of the same stuff, but I actually like Monster Hunter, and I want to keep seeing Monster Hunter sequels. But you know, I don't know. Feels like our gaming our video game franchise pool is dwindling rather than growing.
Yeah.
In some ways, at least. I was playing Slay the Spire again today. It's the only game I've been able to play and actually enjoy lately is Slay the Spire.
Hmm.
And I've played a ton of that game.
Get
Um,
Horizon Zero Dawn.
I did. I have them both. I have no desire to play them.
Start it.
I can't bring
Hunt the
myself to
robot
do it.
dinosaurs
I have a
and
game for
deers.
bickering bucks that I was full on Steam for. We learned that we're going to be basically postponing a month for schedule wise because Brian has so much work to do, and I was like, I can't even ask myself to boot up the PlayStation and go to that game menu. Like it goes on games, and I immediately just switch over to Netflix side. I'm just like, nope, media. I don't care to play anything right now on the PS5. It has been out of my brain for some reason.
Oh, I did finally bite the bullet and I upgraded our family Nintendo account to the expansion pack.
Okay.
So now we can do all the retro collections.
Well, not only that, you got the Animal Crossing expansion, you got the Mario Kart DLC. Like there's some cool things in there that are
Hmm.
just not the N64 and the Genesis collection. Um, although I mostly did it for the N64 collection. I'm not gonna lie, because I I do like some Mario 64, and
Hmm.
um, they got something else on there that I was like, yes, did I? Yeah, I played and beat Banjo Kazooie on it recently. I 100% Banjo Kazooie again actually recently. I forgot I did that this year. Um, so what do you like? You said you're trying to work on 3 Ultimate. You did Generations. What else have you been playing this week, Ace?
I've done a little bit of more of Lego Star Wars. I've been doing some of the um, capital ships that spawn in space.
Is that like a
Those
random
are
event kind of
kind of
thing?
interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's essentially like their own little. It's essentially like a full space battle, and
Oh,
then you
okay.
go into the ship and you have to take over the ship, and then the NPCs in the ship often will have comments about it too. They'll be like, "Everyone, welcome our new captain who forced his way aboard and took over."
I do enjoy their humor. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I Slay the Spire is the only thing I really got to play that I've been like. I was playing Fallout New Vegas as per
Mm-hmm.
Sasha's suggestion, and I just got far enough. I was just like, I'm done. This is Fallout. I know I don't like Fallout, but I was gonna give it a try, and she's gonna be disappointed in me next week. I know it, but oh well. I like what I like, and I don't like what I don't like. It's a good game. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not my cup of tea. I just I did a couple missions. I even restarted after getting sort of soft locked, like I said last week, into that DLC and had to restart. Like I can't do it. I can't do I like the moment where I have to worry about supplies and crafting and stuff, my opinion of the game goes super down. Like
Mm-hmm.
anytime I have to do crafting just to get supplies, I'm just like, here we go again. I'm just not into survival. It really kills a game for me very quickly because it becomes an inventory management eventually, and then I don't like doing that, and I got to keep my weight down. That's the reason why I don't do that stuff in D&D. Like when I was running games, I don't care about bulk or item carry load or that kind of stuff. Like as long as you're
Mm-hmm.
not being ridiculous about it, I don't care. Like that's not a fun thing for me to think about. Like
Mm-hmm.
did I like how much of the Lord of the Rings was focused on their supplies? In the there's some there. You know, they do represent it as a challenge in some, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like the whole focus. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
survival guide to Mordor. Like like I'm not there. Actually, as chat asking, saying with Breath of the Wild, I love Breath of the Wild. I don't know what it is about Breath of the Wild that really made it different. It didn't feel necessary in Breath of the Wild, I guess. Breath of the Wild was like a giant playground. It felt like, and like, ooh, this good sword, ooh, this good sword. Like, whereas everything feels crappy in Fallout. Like everything feels crappy, and I'm just like duct taping it together so that it works as it normally would have worked. there's like a
Oh man.
perspective difference there. I feel. And I love Breath of the Wild, but Breath of the Wild also is a more fantasy, and that works better for me too. Which
Mm-hmm.
Horizon Zero Dawn more fantasy, so I might get to it eventually, but I just that's another thing.
Yeah. I'm also considering getting Subnautica on the Switch for
Just
no
to play it
reason.
again.
I mean, I never beat it the first game
Sure.
because I never got off the planet. Um, I don't know. It's on sale for $15 right now, so it's not a bad price. And then so is Below Zero, so $30 for both of them.
Mm.
If you've never played them on Twitch, would be pretty decent.
So this is how much I was actually looking for something to play. I bought this weird, like, professional, like, not professional, but some weird, like, fishing simulator game for, like, on sale for $15. Like,
Hmm.
now granted, I've said several times I like fishing in games. Like, for some reason, if there's a fishing minigame, I'm in, I'm all over it. I'm going to complete that fishing minigame. I don't know what it is. But I got this game and I played it a couple times and was like, this is bad. I don't I don't want to do this. Like,
Just 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 go back to Monster Hunter and play Generations Ultimate and be a cat. Just go to the fishing spot on the map and just fish there.
that's the one game where I just don't care about fishing as Monster Hunter because everything else is so much better. You know what I mean? Like, everything else is so good about that game. It's not that the fishing is bad. It's just that it's used to get certain things. Like, I will do it to
Mm-hmm.
get the frozen tuna, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, but it's mostly for gunners. Like, gunners use a lot of fish for
Mm-hmm.
weapons, not weapons, but ammo and that kind of thing. And, um, it's just, I don't know. That one, it's not bad, but there's no reward to it other than the item, and you could just use the farm. Whereas, I don't know, like Tales
I
of
mean,
Arise had
in
it.
for you, there was the reward of catching a fucking Plesioth with a net.
No, I did that every time. Every time I did that mini game because that was hilarious. Just seeing a giant Plesioth
Uh,
just flopping on the deck, just
that was that was the most hilarious thing coming from Freedom Unite back into the series,
yeah,
and that being instantly a thing
being
where
like
like
that jerk.
I have
I got him.
some bad memories of like fighting G rank Plesioth in what map was it? It's one of the maps where you go to an underground lake
Yeah,
and you fight him. Ugh,
yeah, that's the desert.
that was such sweet revenge.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Well, no, I think it was the old desert or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's the old desert, because that was always a rough fight when you would go down there and he would start doing his thing that would put you to sleep, where he would fly very like he would jump and he would fly
mhm,
across the arena to the other side of the water, and just like if he hits you, which is a very wide hitbox, you're asleep, and it would do a lot of damage. So you're just like
mhm,
half your health, just sleeping on the ground. And here it comes. Here comes the water jet. And if you like got hit in the wrong spot, sure enough, right across you, just zit, you're dead.
mhm.
It was those were tough quests. Plesioth was always tough
Oh yeah.
because like you could just throw a sonic bomb and like, oh, he comes out. Sometimes, sometimes he comes out of the water.
Well, and the thing is, sometimes he comes out of the water and then goes right back in too.
Yeah, it's just
Like
like
I've definitely had it where he flops back out, but then he turns around right away and dives back in, and
right.
it's like, why did I waste that?
That was the I've said this a couple times that was always my biggest sort of pseudo disappointment in try is not having Plesioth, because it was like I saw the underwater combat in the trailer and I was like, wait a minute, I could jump in after Plesioth, I can get him, and Plesioth's not in the game, and I'm like, but he was the one,
Mm-hmm.
like why? Why would you do this to me, Capcom? But then we got him back in 3 Ultimate, so he was actually on some of the cover
Yeah.
art, or splash, advertisements and splash art. Because cover art was actually in the United States was um, Azure Rethalis, and then everywhere else Brachydius or Brachydius or whatever you want to say, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was promotional stuff that had Plesioth, and I was like, yes, time to get him.
Yeah. We'll have to see if we get Brachydios as well.
Yeah, I watched on YouTube. There was like a long trailer of like all the monster intros from World and Iceborne, and it was like a 2 hour video of just all the intros. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and seeing some of the intros, I was like, man, I missed that monster. Man, I missed that monster. Man, I missed that monster. Even though it was an Iceborne, we not long ago played it, but like
Right.
I would have liked to see, like, could you imagine if Beatotus returned? People would be like, "What? Are you kidding me? Another Piscine Wyvern? Are you kidding me?" Like, I don't know. I like the idea of it.
I mean, I would say I like Beatotas more than Gerardus.
Okay, I like Gerardos though. I mean,
I like them both, but I like I like Beatotas a lot more, I would say.
I don't really have a big difference between the two for me. Like they're both good in my book, but like they're not standout
Mm.
monsters. They're not favorites. You know, if I had,
They need to be bigger.
yeah, I think you're right, but I think they work as smaller monsters too, just for their environment. You know, like the fight arenas that they're in.
I want my big Piscine Wyverns back.
Yeah, and that's what
Stop
Plesioth.
shrinking them down.
That's what Plesioth is. That's what I. He's my favorite Piscine wyvern, partially. Actually, Cephadrome was like pretty big at times too.
Mm.
Sorry, I get the hiccups for some reason. Um, yeah, Cephadrome. Uh, I remember him being pretty big in Freedom Unite. I think I actually sized him down a little bit in Generations Ultimate in some cases. But Freedom Unite, I remember
Mm.
him being pretty beastly, and also a lot more difficult to deal with. Like,
Yeah, they need to size the Piscine Wyverns back up and stop being cowards about it.
mm-hmm,
I want my big fishies
I agree. Um,
because I
ha-
was so disappointed when they brought Lavasioth back to World, but he was tiny in comparison to his former
yeah,
stature.
yeah, because his former stature, he's a Plesioth size, which is a Gravius size, which is immense,
Hmm.
and like everything is more Rethalis ish size now. Um,
Yeah,
most everything.
and he's less intimidating as a result too, because then he hits less hard. And
Mm-hmm.
to me, it in World I dislike Lavasioth a lot because it's just tedious.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
with the lava hardening, it becomes frustrating to deal with. If you, I mean, obviously you can circumvent it by getting like bomb pods or slinger torches
Yeah.
and reheating the areas, but it gets frustrating to have to constantly do that instead of just clipping his legs and getting his underbelly.
Right. Yeah. Or eventually, what I ended up doing a lot of times is just breaking the head and then just
Hmm.
focusing on the head is what I would do.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you can use some bomb pods to get that going. Um. Yeah. So what are we need to do? We never did. We did do an official um predictions episode for Rise. Do you want to do that maybe next month for, because we're talking what next month? So this is May, third week. We're getting pretty close to release the next time we do a Monster Hunter discussion, which will be post whatever the next event is.
We potentially could.
Because there's
I
a lot
also
of
think it's
possibilities for monsters.
yeah. I think it's going to be really weird if they don't have like even half of the missing implied monsters
Oh yeah, no, it's
because we've got Bullfango or Bulldrome. We've got uh, Zamtrios. We've got Agnactor. Um,
Gravius.
who makes a joke off Popo? We got Popodrome, Gammoth,
No, I don't, Gameth is not tied to Popo, but um,
Great Jaggy.
yeah, Great Jaggy, and Did we get? No, we didn't get Joggy, so we don't. We can get Jogris. Um,
No, yeah, yeah. Uh,
I
we got
mean the
Jagras and Great Jagras.
no. We don't have Joggy or Jagras either. We don't have their large form. Right.
Yeah, I know.
And then
So
Tetsukabra.
yeah.
Tetsukabra is the other one, and I could see Tetsukabra being left out. I can see the Jagras being left out because they've done that to those lower monsters. Like, why would they want a lower tier monster? But I
Hmm.
mean, Beatotus is kind of that. Like, it's a G rank of that. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. So like, I don't see that being as much of an issue now. Um, I don't know. Like there, I feel like that Sunbreak has a lot wider of options than we've had
Hmm.
before because it is a more sort of pseudo European setting than we had, with a lot more open
Hmm.
areas and open plains, is what I would expect. So hopefully this isn't like Sunbreak isn't like Iceborne, where we only got one new map. So
Yeah.
hopefully, but if we did only get one new map, I feel like we're probably in because of the nature of it being essentially exclusive to Switch and PC. Um, we're in the danger of having a lower monster count because of that. Whereas that wasn't
Hmm.
necessarily the case in Iceborne. But we are seeing monsters in earlier areas too, which is what happened in Iceborne as well. Like it did just because they
Hmm.
had one map didn't mean that, Nargacuga wasn't in that map, but it was in the ancient forest and the Coral Highlands. But um I don't know. It's a lot up in the air, but that's why we do these prediction episodes.
I think it'd be cool since we started off with three to go back to two and reintroduce some of the classic maps from two.
I want to see them go up to 4. I want to see Nersilla. I want to see Najarala.
Hmm.
Um, even Ketchawacha, maybe stuff like that. I want to see some 4 monsters pop in.
I mean, we got Seregios, so
Yeah,
it's possible that we could see more. I'd hope to see Nursilla again.
I'd hope to see Najarala again. I really liked Najarala, and Snake Wyverns. I think is one of the last categories we don't have a target monster in as well. So if we get
Hmm.
Celtis and Celtis Queen and Najarala, we've hit, I believe, every category.
Maybe they'll screw it up like Harry Potter and we'll get a basilisk that's just like a snake.
Don't do that to me. Don't don't do that to me. That's why I couldn't get over my hatred for Harry Potter for so long. Now I'm okay with it. Although I really enjoy, because a lot of people like to call people muggles based on the series, like whoever doesn't have magic, they call them muggles. I really get
Hmm.
a kick out of aggravating people and calling people no mages because it is the technically correct term for people in the United States not having magic, as
Hmm.
I learned from Fantastic Beasts. And I was like, yes, I totally want to say no mage now. And they're like, no, muggle. I'm like, no, no, no. It's no mage. You're in the United States.
Yeah.
I love that. Um, okay, so maybe that we'll just make that the next one then. We'll just make that our prediction episode, and we'll see how we do afterwards.
Also, since we're going with European theme, and we've already got vampire and technically like a golem with Garangolm,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think would be the basis for the ultimate bad?
That's rough because I could see them doing something where for once that Malzeno is the ultimate bad, but assuming he
Mm,
isn't, Um, hmm, that's tough. We haven't seen a zombie.
I was I was gonna say, I'm thinking it could possibly be well, one of three things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is just some one option is obviously just something I that none of us can think of
Mm-hmm.
that they'll come out with. The other two are sort of tied together, essentially, because my main idea would be that it would be like the plague, since the plague is like the ultimate
The
killer
bubonic
in
plague.
Europe.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
a
which
giant
then
rat monster.
then leads to Black Death, which then
Mm-hmm.
lends itself to Gore Magala. But I don't know that they'd bring Gore Magala back
Not as a
and have like
final.
a whole plague narrative.
No,
Um,
not as a final
so
boss. Yeah,
well, it also
you
leads to
think in
Shigaru.
2022 they're going to avoid a plague narrative. You'd think.
Maybe we'll see. That'd be funny. Just twist the knife a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I played a Plague's Tale in 2020, so
Mm.
but that is about the bubonic plague with fantasy elements attached.
I mean, there's a bunch of people who during this re-downloaded Plague Inc. and stuff like that.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it might be one of the few cell phone games I actually bought and own. Is Plague Inc.
mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to think about because we're not too far away, which is why I'm okay just playing small games. Although I did just before you hopped on a new game on GOG.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Old World, and it's like a mix between Civilization and sort of like Crusader Kings that Pan really liked, where you're kind of managing a family and that kind of thing, but it's also more of that strategic grid warfare that
Mm.
Civilization is. Um,
Okay, so I just did a quick look.
yeah,
Um, European creatures. Uh, dragon, no duh. We've already got dragons in it.
yeah.
Basilisk is listed as one.
Basilisk
Uh,
would be there, even though the basilisk does originate from South America in
mm.
origin.
So I think top three off of what I see here is what I think I would want to see. Basilisk, Chimera, or Kraken.
We kind of got the Kraken with the Generations
No,
one.
I want a full fledged one.
I mean, he's kind of like a Kraken slash Hydra. Um,
Mm.
Narcarcos, yeah, Narcarcos.
Yeah.
Um, I want to see a Hydra. Like I could see a Hydra being a big bad too, but that's more Greek than
Mm-hmm.
European. Even though
Yeah.
it's in Europe, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like we're talking more UK origin versus larger European. I would
Right.
think. I would think at least. Um, UK, France, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, because like we've hit the werewolf, we've hit the vampire, we've hit the golem, flesh golem slash Frankenstein's monster.
I gotta run to the bathroom quick.
Sure, I'll monologue. See, I don't really know just what else could occur that's European. I'm not as familiar with that. I guess like there's stuff like ghosts and zombies. I guess zombie would have to be mine. Um, While I'm in this monologue stage, I will talk about if you're a listener, do check out. I've been doing another show for Flesh and Blood. If you're interested in that trading card game called No Blocks that we run on Mondays. Um, it's been a kind of fun getting to know some people in the Flesh and Blood community and talking it out. I'm glad to have someone who knows the cards better than me. I'm very terrible at knowing the cards like off the top of my head, but it's fun to sort of talk about that. I did do a Magic show in the past, but it's obvious that I wasn't really into Magic um, as I used to be. So it kind of fizzled out for me. And in fact, I hadn't even played Magic the last couple episodes we did for months. So, but whereas I'm actually helping run a Flesh and Blood league. I'm a certified lowest level judge you can be, level 0. But it's a lot of fun. My first real super foray into a card game where I've dove super hard. So it's good to find people to talk about it. So I hope you guys do check out that. And of course, we have Bickering Bucks too. Bickering Bucks, we'll probably have an episode out late June-ish, right? Probably about the time we're going to get Sunbreak, only because of schedules, like I mentioned earlier. And that one is Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy game. So let's hope that one goes well. I just advertised the other podcast shows. We're good.
I don't know if you got it, but I kind of smacked myself in the face with one of the earmuffs, so
I did not.
that was fun.
I did not catch it. So, is there anything else you'd like to add to the Monster Hunter pseudo speculation we have going, or no?
I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff I'd like to see back, but we'll just have to wait and see.
True. To be honest, I thought the weapon videos were going to carry us a lot longer, and it was just sort of like, hey, they're really cool, but I feel like they showed us some armor.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show it like it. For me, it's hard to talk about new moves because it's like you don't really know to execute them. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, this is really cool, and I can't get into the mechanics as much because I'm just, again, I lean more towards the monster side instead of the hunter side of the game. So, which I feel you're the same, with your fictional subspecies and that kind of stuff that you do. Like I feel you're more on the monster side as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's what got me into the series was the monsters.
Yeah.
And fighting them and learning about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of give a shit about the humans.
Right. Like they're boring. Who cares about humans? Unless you're doing D&D stuff. Yeah, I've heard you mention
Barbarians in the guild I'd be interested to learn more about, but
sure. Yeah, just learning about everyday people. It's like, woohoo, another race of humans. Don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if we don't have much else, I think we'll just end it here. Have a shorter episode today. Because there wasn't a lot to talk about for the weapon videos, like we said. But I'm glad we got some speculation in there, some other things to talk about tonight. We'll be back.
I mean,
huh?
I could fake being enraged by there being Magma Almudron instead of Agnactor.
I mean, we talked about that last week. It's what it is. We could still get them, but we don't know. So we don't even know when this June event is yet, do we? They just said in June, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything scheduled. Let me see.
While he's checking into that, I think next week we're probably just going to do another wildcard episode. Don't have a list together yet for what we're doing, but we'll see. So we'll have to decide on what that is, and we'll be here next week with Sasha. And we're getting closer, not yet, but we're getting closer to her new job where she has a lot more time to game. So she'll have
Mm-hmm.
Possibly starting to get into Monster Hunter if we push it, but not too hard, right? Like we gotta be gentle about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't see any exact date listed.
Right. I think they just
So.
said June, which you wouldn't think that they would have like here's all this information about the game and it's out tomorrow. Like I don't think we're going to see it that I think we're going to see early June
Mm-hmm.
would it be whatever the announcement is. So, thank you guys for watching or tuning in on the audio. This is Fortuan. You can catch me at Hunters Hub Pod on Twitter. Also here on the Twitch is Hunters Hub Pod. Um, like I said, when Ace was away, be sure to check out our other shows. Um, and if you want to follow us on the Discord, you can always hit me up on Twitter, or it is open to the public. It's just Hunters Hub on Discord. You can, I think you can search it. I'm not really good with the whole Discord searching thing, but if you need a direct link, either one of us can give it to you. And if you want to talk to Ace, it's at Ace Badger Gaming on Twitter, and we both talk about a variety of gaming stuff on Twitter, and Ace gets into some political stuff that I don't.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
I more so keep that on my personal just because,
All right.
I don't know. I tend to get more
Heated.
heated and
I do see
verbally
that.
free flowing.
So now that we are Facebook friends, I do see that on Facebook occasionally where you do get a little more heated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I'm still the same. My public profile is the same as my private profile, whereas it's just like politics, nah, just nah. I'm not gonna engage with
Well,
that.
that's sort of the thing. Like people, quote unquote, don't like politics in their gaming, so that's why more or less try to keep it separate. Just because I am outspoken on a lot of issues when it comes to
Sure.
politics.
I mean,
But occasionally it does cross over.
no, it does, and
So.
there are political games. There are games that are meant to be political and make a statement, and it will,
Mm-hmm.
boil over, and everything technically is political by nature. You know what I mean? Like you can debate anything, even as far as the economy and stuff like that, just based off of games. So it's not that like politics are
Yeah.
unimportant. It's just like I feel like I am way out of my depth in them. You know what I mean? Like I just don't.
Yeah. Well, and did you know apparently we're both like violent murderers in the waiting in the wings?
I did. Yeah, this is what I saw you were talking about on Facebook. Yep. Because there was another mass shooting and video games were blamed again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As they are damn near every time.
Yeah, just about
instead
every
of
time.
addressing the actual issues, which the shooters more or less lay out in their manifestos every time they go and do these things.
Yeah, actually, one of the things I watched, I was almost on a Doom kick where I was going to start streaming it or something, but I just don't feel like streaming. So I don't. But I was almost about ready to start Doom 2016 and that kind of stuff. So I watched a couple videos on just Doom stuff, like I normally do on YouTube and that kind of thing. One of the things was talking about the Columbine shootings and the fact that one of those kids were super into Doom and was actually a mapper, and you can actually play some of his maps that he's created before the incident and that kind of stuff. And of course, there's the secret hidden maps that are the actual maps he made that is the Columbine High School and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been in the spotlight for a long time, games and shooting violence, and it's the same story every time. As far as video games are concerned, it's just like you're finding a scapegoat rather than fixing the problem.
Which is kind of funny because that's largely like a conservative and some Democrat politicians go to. I don't know if you've heard about it, the school shooting movie that Ben Shapiro's media company supported and advertised.
Mm-mm.
run, hide, fight, or whatever it is. I don't think they brought up video games in that, which is weird
Hmm.
because they like do all this other weird stuff that I would say is very disingenuous to the argument and
Mm-hmm.
does not accurately depict the way in which a shooting unfolds. Um, it's just weird not to see that since that's usually an argument that is brought up all the time with these.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, we're gonna end on a weird note for that. So it's okay.
Yeah,
It's important stuff.
it
It's
happens.
just I don't know. I don't know where to go from that. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Laters.
Welcome back, Steve.